The mic was mute. Okay. Hey yo, what's up, everyone? It's your boy JOSHABRAHAM. Ine. And today I am following accordingly to the timetable I created. And it did go pretty well. I should be starting my session 6 minutes before, but no, at least we're here. Uh, can I see the timetable? Why is it not showing me? Okay, I should think this. Oh no, not in Python code. Come on. Okay. So from 10 overview of the experiments from section 1 to 6. Let me get the overview. Where's DeepSeek? Hey Siri, set a timer for 1 hour.
1 hour, counting down.
And I could write it on my tablet. Lab protocol, lab experiment. Don't tell me the pencil has 0 charge or it's disconnected. Hmm. Chemical laboratory. Extraction and measurement of volumes. That's the section 1. I do remember that. Extraction and measurement of volumes. Main goal. To learn fundamental lab techniques for handling liquid and separating mixtures. Lab techniques for handling liquids and separating mixtures. For handling liquids and separating mixture. Extractions. Using a separatory funnel to separate iodine from water, comparing single and multiple extraction efficiency. Using separatory funnel to separate iodine from water, comparing single and multiple extraction efficiency. Using separatory funnel to separate iodine from water, comparing single and multiple, using separatory funnel to separate iodine from water, comparing single and multiple extraction. The second one is volume measurement, testing the accuracy of different lab tools by measuring and weighing water. Testing the accuracy of different lab tools by measuring and weighing water. Binary mixtures, observing that volume of water acetone mixture is less than sum of its parts. Observing the volume of water acetone mixture is less than sum of its parts. Observing that the volume of water acetone mixture is less than the sum of its individual volumes. Density and refractive index. Preparing a precise sugar solution and using its density and refractive index to estimate the sugar content in a beverage. Density and refractive index. Preparing a precise sugar solution and using its density and refractive index to estimate the sugar content in a beverage. Density. Preparing a precise sugar solution and using its density and refractive index to estimate the sugar content. Refractive index to estimate the sugar content in a beverage, in a given beverage. Section 2, distillation of binary mixture. To separate two liquids based on their different boiling point using simple distillation. To separate two liquids based on their boiling point using simple distillation. Assemble the distillation apparatus with round bottom flask, condenser, and thermometer. Separation, distilling a mixture of acetone and water, collecting different fractions, pure substance, mixed fractions, pure substance. As temperature changes, analysis, measuring the volume and refractive index of each fraction to check the purity and efficiency of the separation. Okay, I do remember that. Assembling a distillation apparatus with round bottom flask condenser. Assembling a distillation apparatus using round bottom flask, condenser, and thermometer. Separation. Distilling a mixture of acetone and water, collecting different fractions as temperature changes. Distilling a mixture acetone and water, collecting different fractions, pure substance, mixed fraction, pure substance. As temperature changes. Analysis. Measuring the refractive index each fraction to check the purity and efficiency of the separation. Section 3. Recrystallization, filtration, and sublimation. Filtration. Not sublimination, sublimation. We go to learn different methods for purifying crystal compounds, solid compounds. Key activities. Recrystallization, purifying impure benzoic acid by dissolving it in hot water and letting pure crystals form as it cools. That's two. Okay. Purifying impure soiled benzoic acid in water. By dissolving it in hot water and letting pure crystals form as it cools. Crystals as it cools. But here also I think the separation technique is used, right? Vacuum filtration. Isolating purified crystals from solution. Isolating purified from the solution. Sublimation, purifying impure iron by heating it so it turns directly into vapor. Purifying impure iron by heating it so it turns directly into vapor and resolidifies as pure. Purifying impure iron by heating it so it turns directly into vapor. Purifying impure iron by heating it so it sublimes as pure crystals on a cold surface. Impure iodine by heating it so it turns into vapor and resolidifies onto a colder surface as pure crystals onto a colder surface. Melting point. Determining the melting point of a purified benzoic acid to check it's pure. the melting point. Determining the melting point of purified benzoic acid to check its benzoic acid to check its purity. Section 4 redox reaction. To observe and understand oxidation, reduction, reactions, specific and specific, redox concepts. Reactivity, metal reactivity. Testing different metals with acids and base to see which react to produce hydrogen gas. Testing different metals. Oh, it's iron, aluminium, copper, zinc. I'll do the order that DeepSeek gave me. Aluminium, copper, iron, zinc, silicon. Aluminium, copper, iron, silicon, zinc. Zinc, silicon, but yeah. With acid and base to see which react and produce hydrogen gas. Is it just hydrogen gas? I don't think it's just hydrogen gas. With acidic and basic to see how they react. And produce hydrogen gas, I think, yeah. Oxyhydrogen test, generating hydrogen gas and testing it with a flame. Generating hydrogen gas and testing it with a flame. Pop test. Redox amphoterism, showing hydrogen peroxide can act as both an oxidizing and reducing agent. Hydrogen peroxide, okay. Example, H2O2 acts as both oxidizing agent with potassium iodide and reducing agent with potassium permanganate. Oxygen preparation, what? Making oxygen gas from hydrogen peroxide or potassium permanganate and testing with glowing piss splint. Okay. Making oxygen gas from hydrogen peroxide or potassium permanganate and testing it with glowing splint and testing it with glowing splint. Autocatalysis. Autocatalysis. Observing a reaction that speeds up because one of its product acts as gas. Observing a reaction, potassium permanganate peroxide. Observing reaction, potassium permanganate plus oxalate, which that's speeds up the reaction because one of its products acts as a catalyst. Okay, now section 5. Oh, two more sections. Section 5. Separation and copper complex. To separate a mixture of organic and inorganic compound using extraction and synthesize a coordinate complex. To separate a mix to separate a mixture of organic and inorganic compound using extraction and synthesize a coordination complex. Just a mixture of inorganic using extraction and to synthesize a coordination complex. separation using a separatory funnel with water and ethyl acetate to separate a mixture of copper to sulfate and benzyl. Using a separatory funnel with water and ethyl acetate to separate a mixture of copper to sulfate and benzyl. Using a separatory funnel with water and ethyl acetate to separate copper to complex. Yeah, copper to sulfate. Sulfate and benzyl complex and benzyl, that's it. Removing water from organic solution using drying agent. From the organic solution using a drying agent. That was anhydrous sodium sulfate. Yeah. Distillation. Removing the ethyl acetate solvent to isolate solid benzyl. I remember exactly. I misinterpreted distillation. Removing the ethyl acetate solvent to isolate benzyl, solid benzyl. Complex synthesis. Converting aqueous copper ions into deep blue tetramine copper to sulfate complex by adding ammonia. Converting aqueous copper ions into deep blue tetramine copper. Converting aqueous copper ions into blue tetramine copper complex. Copper to sulfate. Sulfate complex, okay. Complex using ammonia. That's section 5. Last section 6. Copper cycle. That's the big one. And a question from copper cycle is a must. It's always there. Main goal to perform a series of reactions that transforms copper metal through various components and back to copper, demonstrating a cycle. You start with a piece of copper wire and dissolve it in nitric acid to form blue copper to nitrate. Precipitate it as blue copper to hydroxide with sodium hydroxide. Convert it to black copper to oxide. By heating, dissolve it in sulfuric acid to form blue copper to sulfate. Recover the copper by reacting it with zinc metal. Final task, you must write a detailed handwritten lab. Okay. Yep, this was the copper cycle. To perform a series of reactions. You know, if I write it like this. The transform copper metal through various compounds and back to copper, demonstrating as various compounds and back to copper, demonstrating cycle. Key activities, you start with a blue piece of copper wire. I don't, yeah, I mean, the piece of copper wire. Dissolve. Dissolve it in nitric acid to form blue copper to nitrate. To form blue copper to nitrate. Precipitate it as blue copper hydroxide with sodium hydroxide. Precipitate as blue copper to hydroxide using sodium hydroxide. Convert it to black copper to oxide by heating. Dissolve it in sulfuric acid to form blue copper to sulfate. Sulfuric acid to form blue copper to sulfate. Recover the copper to copper by reacting it with recover metal by reacting copper to sulfate with zinc. Okay. Learn the name of the glassware and equipment involved. Section 1 to 6. Okay. Now, tell me names of all the glasswares separatory funnel Schniedertrichit. That's the volumetric flask. That's the graduated cylinder. I forgot the name. Filtering flask. Test tube with sidearm, yeah. Test tube, heating mantle, watch glass, thermometer, graduated pipette, volumetric pipette, wooden splint. Okay, that is beakers, filter crucible, funnel, quick fit. Okay, inlet conduit, rubber washer stopper, clamps, plastic stopper, glass stopper. That's still plastic. Glass, yeah. That's it? These are all the equipments? No way. I do remember seeing some. Equipments on cupboard. That's the grease. That's a Liebig condenser. That's the separatory funnel. Distillation apparatus or distillation separator, distillation bridge, telco burner. Just a minute. Okay, those two are. Oh, it's not a lot of stuff. Baby condenser, you know? What? These look so different. Okay, this would be the one I used. Desiccator. Filter crucible. Filtering flask, okay. So how do I start? How do I start naming all these stuff? Glasswares involved. So now it's glasswares, right? So I'm using a lot of soaps, but according to my timetable, I should be changing the stream title. Mm-hmm. I did the overview of the experiments, learn the glasswares. Okay. I'm sorry. No, this is not what I want, bro. Chat GPT internet version is so fucked up. Okay, YouTube, I'm gonna end the stream, but I gotta look into the glassware for the next hour. So, yep.